Welcome to Lead with Clarity. This is a space for leaders who want to grow without losing themselves in the process. Each episode is a short reflection on leadership, influence, and the inner work that shapes how we show up for others. It's not hype, not noise, just clear thinking for the journey of leading well. Today's episode is entitled See the Bill Before You Sign It. Here we go. Think about the last time you said yes to something without really thinking about it. A meeting invite you accepted in 3 seconds. A favor you agreed to before the person finished asking. A committee seat you took because it felt rude to decline. In the moment, none of those yeses cost you anything. That's exactly why they're dangerous. Kander put it simply when she said, "Every yes is expensive. Most people just never see the bill." That line resonates with me because it names something that leaders rarely talk about directly. We talk about time management. We talk about priorities. We rarely talk about the fact that every single yes is a purchase made against an account that never refills on its own. You have a finite amount of time, a finite amount of attention, and a finite amount of energy to bring to the people and the work that matter most. Every yes draws from that account, whether or not you noticed yourself spending. The tricky part is that the bill almost never arrives at the register. It arrives later, quietly, disguised as something else. It shows up as the strategy memo that you rushed because you'd given away the morning that you meant to write it in. It shows up as the conversation with your team that got shorter than it should have because your calendar was already full of other people's requests. Leaders rarely trace their worst weeks back to a specific yes. But if you go looking, you'll usually find one or several sitting quietly at the root of it. Here's where leaders tend to misread this. They hear protect your time, and they assume it means become harder to reach, say no more often, build a wall around the calendar. That's not quite it. The misread is thinking the problem is generosity itself. It is not. The problem is generosity given without judgment. A leader who says yes to everything isn't actually generous with their best thinking. They're generous with their availability, which is a different thing entirely. Their best thinking gets spread so thin across so many commitments that none of them get the leader at their sharpest. So here's the reframe. The question isn't whether to say yes or no. The question is whether you can see the bill before you sign for it. That takes a moment that most people skip. Before you agree to anything, even something small, it helps to ask what this will displace. Not in the abstract, but specifically. What will you not have time to do well this week because you said yes to this? If you're not able to answer that question, you're not making a decision. You're just reacting. That's where a small pause becomes a leadership habit rather than an inconvenience. It doesn't need to be dramatic. It can be as simple as telling someone, "Let me look at what's already on my plate and get back to you by tomorrow." That single sentence turns a reflex into a choice. It also, quietly, signals something to the people around you. It tells them that when you do say yes, you mean it, and that your yes is worth more precisely because it wasn't given automatically. This matters more, not less, in an environment shaped by AI tools. Those tools are remarkable at generating output. More drafts, more meeting requests, more quick questions routed your way because someone assumes you'll respond fast. The volume of asks on a leader's time is only going up. But the tools have no ability to tell you which of those asks deserves your judgment and which ones do not. That discernment is still entirely yours. If anything, the flood of easy requests makes the discipline of pausing before you agree more valuable than it's ever been, not less. None of this means becoming someone who hoards their time and gives nothing away. Some of the best yeses a leader gives are the ones that cost the most. The mentoring conversation, the extra hour on someone else's problem, the seat at the table when it actually matters. Those are worth the bill. The goal is not fewer yeses. The goal is fewer yeses given without knowing what they cost. Here's something to carry with you this week. Before your next automatic yes, pause for just a moment and ask what it will take from you and from the people who are counting on your best thinking elsewhere. That pause doesn't make you less generous. It makes your generosity more accurate. Every yes is expensive. The leaders worth following are the ones who've learned to check the bill before it arrives, not after.